I was talking about the tragedy. I don't know why I'm bringing. I had a
Yeah, no, you said that something had occurred.
my nephew died in a helicopter accident.
Oh,
Yeah, and we made the news in Australia, and I want to sort of talk about it a little bit because there's been a cover up by what I believe the Australian government. So I'm getting into conspiracy theory shit now.
welcome.
But okay, so you can check this online. My nephew, Lieutenant Max Nugent, was in a helicopter. Now, how Australian a death is this? He crashed a helicopter up near the bit above the Great Barrier Reef for the military and was eaten by sharks. Like his remains, there was no remains left. So that's pretty Australian. You know, that's pretty.
I mean, it's a high velocity. It almost sounds like something that would be sponsored by Red Bull, to be honest, you know?
So he was on
Pretty high velocity.
He was on military war games flying a Taipan helicopter, and they were in a group of 4 flying along. America was there as well. There was 30,000 soldiers from all of our allies around the world. And the helicopter crashes.
So it's a competition?
They play basic war games stuff. So they're in formation, 4 Taipan helicopters. The helicopter crashes. They wear these helmets that were completely. It's just like all the readings are in there. You know, I don't know why they can't just do it in an office like a drone. You know what I mean? But they're in the helicopter and they're looking at all their things. The helicopter hits the water. The 4 men on the helicopter die instantly. And within a matter of a couple of weeks, Australia had decommissioned the helicopters, taken them apart and buried them in the desert. The Ukraine said, we'll take the helicopters, and the Australians went, no, don't you worry about that. Then my brother and my niece and my sister-in-law had to sit through an inquiry that went on for almost 2 years, whether the government was responsible or not, where the test pilot stood up and said that those helmets were defective and would end in industrial manslaughter, right?
So this was documented that he had said
this was documented in the inquiry, right?
Wow.
It's like watching A Few Good Men, like talking about the military and the government trying to cover its ass. So said that it would. They also the weather environment. It was raining really badly. Other countries didn't go out on patrol that day. They said the weather was too bad. The soldiers were too tired. One of the soldiers said that they were so tired they couldn't fly the aircraft, and then my nephew stepped in to actually do it. There's just it was just so much bullshit. And then they made it until they had, I believe, 5 days to actually put in a civil suit to sue the government, or the statute of limitations ran out and the inquiry ended with 5 days. Who has 5 fucking days to get a law? They dragged it out on purpose so that now I get that the world's going to war. Well, the world's we're in a war. Everyone, whether it kicks off more, who knows, right? But the Australian military might be going into a war scene pretty soon, right? Anything you guys do, we'll do as well, right? And so they can't be paying out every soldier who dies or whatever like that. But this was not. This was a war games. There was things that weren't followed. There was things that have been, there's literally helicopters that have been buried. If you want to find an Australian Taipan fucking helicopter, you need a treasure map, mate.
Wow.
So I just, the only reason I'm bringing it up here on the show.
Let's bring it up if it's wrong.
Is you've got such a big platform, mate, and I just wanted to sort of get that bit of information out. You can go onto my Instagram. I've put up all the clips there, or just Google the accident. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but it seems pretty shady to me.
And were you able to like, how do you even go about combating that, or like getting in investigations into this?
I don't know. I think I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I think this is all I can physically do. At the very least, I'd like my nephew's death not to be forgotten. And I'd like him to be remembered. And what I've seen my brother go through, you wouldn't put onto any parent losing their child, right? You wouldn't put it onto anybody.
Let's bring up a picture of him, Mr. Nugent.
Max Nugent, Lieutenant Max. The thing is, he grew a moustache just before he.
Oh, hell
because
yeah!
Because there he is. He looked like he was. He looked like he was from the 1940s. He looked like he'd just come back from beating some Germans, didn't he?
He definitely looks like a time traveler.
he was ready to go, old Max.
Hello, Max.
But that boy, mate, I remember
Awesome guy.
I remember when he was born, and he was one of those guys. He just never disappointed. Every step along the way, he wanted to be a fighter pilot, but he was 6'6".
Oh,
So I had to go in the helicopters. But
because there's more room in there.
yeah, a bit more leg space.
Yeah, I could see
a bit
that.
more leg space. You don't want to be in a fighter jet and be a real tall guy. You know,
Yeah, with your legs just up
sitting
like
there
that.
like that. Oi,
Yeah.
Maverick. But
He's moving the throttle with his foot. Was he your first nephew?
he was my first nephew.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
he's I keep on getting his age wrong in every interview. I believe he was 23. He was very young.
And was he married or no?
He had a girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
But that he'd been living with for a short amount of time.
Hell yeah, put the bills on her.
But he was just starting out in life. He'd just gone through all the training and stuff and graduated to actually become the helicopter pilot and actually be a real, for everybody in the military that sees battle, I think there's 12 people behind them who are catering and supplies and this, that, and the other for soldiers. They're the rock stars, man. The fighter pilots and the helicopter pilots and stuff. We were proud of him.
Oh, they're the heroes. I'm sure you were. He looks like somebody very much to be proud of. That's why I wanted to get a good look at him so we can honor him today. So they said that his plane went down and they don't really know what happened?
They said it was pilot error in the end, but they didn't know because the masks invert. But at the end of the day, the weather wasn't right and they shouldn't have been flying.
Yeah,
Like other countries didn't go out, and there's meant to be a certain amount of sleep that the soldiers are meant to have before and that sort of stuff. It was actually turned out to be that my nephew. There was two blokes in the back of the helicopter and the two pilots at the front. And the first fear you have was he experienced enough? Was he the one holding the controls? And he wasn't. It was the more senior pilot that was holding it. My nephew wasn't holding it at the time. But I have no ill will to him, of course. Like it's an accident. But my family had to listen to the black box, and that took a year before they played that, of going in and listening to legal fucking shit going over and over again. And we'll adjourn in a month and we'll do some more and we'll adjourn a week. And they spent all their holiday pay and all their days off having to try to get justice for their son. And then at the end they went, pilot error, you can't sue or anything like that. There'll be no money paid out. And if you want to sue, you got 5 days to get it done. Right. What was your question again? Sorry. It was okay. So there was another bloke actually driving it, but the black box is just really my nephew going, well, it's looking a bit dodgy. Pull up. That's all you really get. You get his final words, and that's pretty harrowing to have to listen to the final words of someone. It's not like they're words of wisdom; they're words of fear right at the end there.
Has it been man? God, it's so heartbreaking. Has it been hard to be a supportive brother after that? Has that been a challenge or interesting, or what does that kind of turn into?
It's been
not hard, but what is that like? Because
there's a field piece I once did on the Jefferies show that shows me and my brother's relationship, because he was a police officer and I did a ride along in his car, and it was just a lot of me taking the piss out of my brother, and he took it in pretty good jest. There's nothing to say when someone's child dies. You can just be there and you can just hug them and stuff. The only thing I could do was get on a plane right away as soon as I knew. You know what I mean? But in some strange way, so I got 2 brothers, and those 2 haven't always gotten along. They don't dislike each other. They're just very different blokes.
Yeah, they're different for sure.
Just different dudes, man. And it's brought them closer together, because when the shit hit the fan, the whole family was there right away. Everyone was there right away, I remember going, I got there, I got on the first plane, I got there, and then my brother was waiting out the front. My other brother was waiting out the front. He goes, I don't want to go in before you go in. I want to go in with you. I just don't. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So it was terrible. And watching my granddad, I'm glad my mother's dead for it, to be honest, that she didn't have to be around for it. What's the matter of living a few more years to see your grandchild die? Oh. You know what I mean? So, I know this is meant to be a fun podcast, but I was just saying, let's talk about Chris Lilly, man. Let's talk about fucking Chris Lilly. Or my comedy special, 2 Limb special coming out.
Yeah, we'll get right into it. But Max Nugent, thank you so much for your service, sir. Yeah. And happy to be thinking of you today. We'll get we'll get a nice photo of him if it's okay with you and your brother. Maybe we can put it in here on the desk or something. Would that be okay?
No, that would be wonderful. Thank you. That would mean a lot to me.
That'd be cool. It'd be nice to have him in here with that stash. cash too, dude. You know.
he was he was great. He was it was strange that I remember thinking when he went to Duntroon, which is like Sandhurst, or I don't know what you call it. What's the big military academy in America?
West Point.
West Point.
Yeah. So Duntroon is the equivalent of West Point.
Ooh, yeah.
And he didn't get in the first time, and he studied and he worked as a bartender or whatever, and then he got in the next time. And I remember thinking like he was just such a committed lad, and then he finished really high, top of his grade, and even though he was my nephew, even though I am over, I was 25 years older than the bloke.
Yeah.
Right? I looked up to him.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I looked up to him. I thought
Yeah.
he was kind of like a cool guy. And in the same way, like I went and did a gig the other day with the Dodgers, and I'm like, why am I gushing over some 25-year-old lads? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a fighter pilot who was my nephew, my blood was fucking doing that, man.
Yeah.
And I looked up to him.
That's cool.
Sorry.
No, it's admirable. Well, I look up to him too.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
No, I like getting to think it's important.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
So-
important to think about people that mean something to you, and I believe that people can feel you thinking about them like I think that it's a real thing. Like, I think it's important that we think about people like that. Man, he fucking this dude was a fucking boss.
Yeah. And you know what? I take some solace in that he was doing the job that he always wanted to do since he was a little kid.
Yeah, he lived his dream.
They reckon the last time they saw him, he put his machine gun over his shoulder, his automatic shoulder over, he jumped in the helicopter and he gave a thumbs up and a smile.
Yeah.
And he was over the moon because the other person dropped out and Max was the first person with his hand up. Yeah. And so, it wasn't a senseless death. It wasn't like a car accident, which I'm not going, people have tragedies all their life. At least there was, it wasn't fentanyl.
Yeah.
At least it was something,
Fucking awesome.
Off being a fucking hero, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It is cool.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Max, dude. Fucking, he's still out there in the air, probably fucking. Dude, well, look, that's another reason we shouldn't be tariffing these people. These guys are freaking putting their lives on the line. They've done that for America before.